Hey babe, where's my hoodie? I called out from the bedroom. Layla's voice floated in from the kitchen. Which one? The gray one with the rip in the sleeve. Yeah, that's the one, I said, walking out to find her already holding it. You always know exactly what I mean. She smirked, tossing it at me. That's because you wear it every other day. I laughed. It's my lucky hoodie. Lucky or lazy. She grinned and leaned in for a kiss. I wrapped my arms around her, breathing in her familiar scent. God, I loved this woman. Hey, knock it off, you too. Mason's voice boomed from the doorway. Some of us are still single and bitter. I turned to see him standing with a six-pack and that ridiculous grin of his. Dude, do you even knock anymore? He shrugged, stepping in. I'm basically your third roommate. Layla laughed. We're like our live-in sarcasm machine. Mason bowed. Glad to be of service. Now, where's my beer reward for tolerating this mush fest? I grabbed 2 bottles from the fridge and handed him one. You're always welcome here, man. You know that. Yeah. You're the best, bro. He raised his bottle to codependency and third wheeling. We clinked bottles and I watched them both laugh together. My world felt solid dankered by these 2 people. We'd all known each other for years. Mason and I met in elementary school. Layla came along after college. The 3 of us just worked. So Mason said, kicking off his shoes, you still planning that big weekend getaway for your anniversary? Layla shot me a look. He better be, I chuckled. It's a surprise. And no, I'm not telling either of you where we're going. Mason raised a brow. Even me, especially you, I said. You can't keep a secret to save your life. Hey, he held a hand to his chest. I kept your high school crush on Mrs. Lang a secret. Layla snorted. Wait, what? I groaned. Bro, what happened to loyalty? Mason grinned. Selective memory comes with the territory. Layla was still laughing. You liked our English teacher. I was 16, she smelled like vanilla, and she read poetry like it mattered. What do you want from me? We all broke into laughter again. These were the moments I lived for. The comfort, the inside jokes. It's the feeling that, no matter how chaotic life got, these 2 people were my constant dot. Later, we sat on the balcony as the sun dipped below the city skyline. Mason leaned back in the chair, sipping his beer. You ever think about how lucky we are? He asked, voice softer now. I glanced at him. All the time. Layla reached for my hand. Yeah, it doesn't always feel real, does it? I nodded. Honestly, I keep waiting for something to mess it up. Don't say that, Layla whispered, squeezing my hand. Mason looked at us for a long second. Yeah, don't jinx it, man. His voice carried a strange undertone, like a shadow behind a smile, but I brushed it off. He was probably just tired. All right, enough feelings for one night, Mason said, standing up. I've got work early. You 2 lovebirds behave. Drive safe, Layla said. Always. He gave her a wink, then looked at me. You're lucky, you know. I nodded. Yeah, I know. When the door shut behind him, I turned to Layla. He's been acting weird lately. She shrugged. He's always dramatic. Yeah, but that felt different. She touched my face gently. Stop overthinking everything. Tonight was perfect. I smiled, though something inside me hesitated. It really was. As we stood in the quiet of the living room, wrapped in soft light and softer silence, I felt like I was living a dream. A dream I didn't want to wake up from, if only I'd known that it was already falling apart. And the 2 people I trusted most were the very ones pulling it apart behind my back. Hello? I froze. It was Layla's voice, soft, almost a whisper, but clear as day through the thin wall between the kitchen and the hallway. I can't talk long. He's in the shower. I felt my stomach drop. Something about her tone. It wasn't normal. It was hushed. Nervous, I took a slow step back. My heart was pounding, water still dripping from my hair. I know. Okay. I know it's wrong. Wrong. I dried my hands on the towel and held my breath. No, he has no idea. He trusts me way too much. My chest tightened. My feet felt like they were glued to the floor. You said this would be quick, that it wouldn't get complicated then. Silence, and then a name. One word that made the air rush out of my lungs. Mason. I leaned against the wall, everything inside me turning cold. Stop saying that, she whispered. I wish he didn't matter so much. I stepped away from the wall like it had burned me. My ears rang. I wasn't even sure I was breathing. I felt like the ground had opened beneath me and I was falling into something I couldn't control. I walked into the kitchen. Layla turned fast, nearly dropping her phone. Her face drained of color. Who were you talking to? I asked. She blinked. It was no one. I stared at the phone still in her hand. Say it again? What? Say his name again? Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. My voice shook. I heard everything, Layla. She dropped her gaze. It's not what you think. Then tell me what it is. My throat was tight. Tell me why you're whispering about me. About him. Kate, why you're lying in our kitchen like I'm some kind of idiot. Her lips quivered. I didn't mean for you to find out like this. Oh, good, I snapped. You had a plan for that too? I didn't mean to hurt you, she said, almost pleading now. But you did. With him. Of all people, him, Layla. I didn't plan it, she shouted suddenly. It just happened. How long? She hesitated. How long? I repeated, louder this time. 3 months. I staggered back like she'd hit me. 3 months. I shook my head. Every smile, every hug, every time we laughed with him around you were lying to me. Tears welled up in her eyes. I never stopped loving you. Don't, I said sharply. Don't say that. She stepped toward me. I was confused. Mason and I backed away. Don't say his name again, please. Just listen. No, my voice cracked. I trusted you. I trusted him. You two were my whole world. And now I can't even look at you without wondering how long you were pretending. It wasn't like that, she whispered. Then what was it like, Layla? Enlighten me. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Nothing, just silence. I laughed bitterly. That's what I thought. Suddenly, I couldn't stay in that room a second longer. I turned toward the door. Where are you going? I paused with my hand on the doorknob. Away from this lie, please, she said behind me. Please don't walk away. I turned to her slowly. I already did, Layla. The second you chose him. Then I left. The night air hit my face like ice. I walked with no direction, no destination, just away. Away from the house, from the betrayal, from the memories that suddenly felt poisoned. My phone buzzed. Mason, I stared at the screen. Rage boiled in my chest. I answered. You knew, I said flatly. There was a pause. I didn't want you to find out like this. My grip tightened. That's all you've got to say. I'm sorry. You were my brother. I know, he said, and I hate myself for it. You? I snapped. Because I don't think you do. I think you just hate that you got caught. It wasn't planned. Shut up, I yelled into the phone. You stood beside me, man. All these years. I would have taken a bullet for you. We both were. You could have walked away, I said. But you didn't. You stood there and smiled at me like nothing was happening. I'm sorry. Don't ever call me again, I whispered. He didn't respond. He didn't need to. I hung up. I sank onto a bench on the side of the street. My entire body trembled not from cold, but from grief. Not from anger, but from something deeper, something hollow to people. The two people I trusted most, gone. Not dead, but lost. And I had no idea how I was going to survive this. Is that all of it? Jared asked, leaning against my car with his arms crossed. I looked at the last box in the trunk. Yeah, that's it. My whole life in 3 duffel bags and a shoebox. He smirked. You travel light for someone carrying 1,000 pounds of trauma. I forced a laugh. It's funny, real helpful. You're the one who wanted a clean break, remember? I didn't want to burn it all down, I muttered. I just couldn't breathe there anymore. He nodded. Well, breathe here. It's cleaner air, fewer ghosts. I closed the trunk. Thanks for letting me crash until I find a place. Jared clapped my back. You're not crashing, you're recovering. Big difference. But it didn't feel like recovery. It felt like running. Say it again, Emily said, tapping her pen against her notebook. I stared at the ceiling, not sure who I am without them. She tilted her head. Who are you with them? I let the silence stretch. Angry, betrayed. Hollow, that's a start, she said gently. But it's not an identity. It's a wound. Feels like all I've got left. Then let's build from that, she said. We can't erase the pain, but we can teach it how to speak. I glanced at her. What does that even mean? Means your story's not done yet. The gym, I pushed until my arms gave out. Yo, you good? Jared leaned over the bench, sweat dripping off his forehead. Yeah, I panted. Just trying to forget. Memory lives in your head, not your chest. I know, I said, but it shuts up when I can't breathe. He tossed me a towel. You're starting to sound like me. God forbid. Jared grinned. Progress. Weeks passed. Then months, I didn't check social media. Didn't answer unknown numbers. I blocked both of them. Cold dot, I filled the silence with work. Jared got me a job at his firm accounting. Spreadsheets, long hours. Numbers didn't lie. People did, dude. You're a machine, Jared said, watching me plow through the 5th report of the day. Can't sleep anyway, I muttered. He nodded. You ever think about dating again? I gave him a look. You trying to get punched? Fair enough. You're closed off, Emily said during another session. I'm protecting myself. There's a difference between boundaries and walls. I need the walls right now. I understand, she said softly, but isolation isn't healing. It's hiding. I'm not ready to let anyone in. Then let yourself in. Sit with the grief. Stop outrunning it. Swallowed hard. I don't know how. She leaned forward. That's why you're here. Jared took me out for drinks one night. This place smells like regret, I said, wrinkling my nose. That's just tequila. Drink it anyway. I hesitated. What if I see someone I know? You've burned your old life, remember? Still? Feels like the ashes follow me. He raised his glass. To new beginnings, I clinked mine. And forgetting the old ones. Not forgetting, he said, outgrowing. I met a girl at the bar that night. Blonde, kind eyes. Hi, she said, you look like you're having a terrible time. I chuckled. That obvious? She smiled. I'm Kayla. I paused. Her name hit too close to an old wound. Just leaving, actually. Her smile faltered. Oh, okay. I walked away without looking back. I pushed someone away. Last night, I told Emily the next day. Why? Her name was too close. To Layla. I nodded. That's not weakness, she said. It's recognition. You're still bleeding. It's been over a year. Healing doesn't run on a schedule. I just want to be okay. She smiled sadly. Then let's keep working. Are you ever going to trust again? Jared asked during a late-night pizza run. I don't. No, he handed me a slice. You trusted me. Yeah, but you didn't sleep with my girlfriend. He winced. Yikes. Fair. A bit into the pizza. I miss who I was. Then fight to find him again. It's easier said than done. Yeah, but worth it. 6 months later, I found an apartment. You sure you're ready to live solo? Jared asked. I need the space. For real this time. He grinned. Proud of you, man. I handed him a box. Thanks for not giving up on me. He shrugged. That's what friends are for. Real ones, anyway. Emily hugged me on our last session. You've come a long way. I still feel broken, I said. You're not broken, she said. You're rebuilding. I stood in my empty apartment that night, silence all around me. No texts, no memories playing on repeat, just me, and for once. That was enough. Hey, you're in my spot. I looked up from my usual table at the cafe, startled. A woman stood in front of me, arms crossed, but there was a smirk playing on her lips. "Excuse me?" I blinked, unsure if she was serious. "You're always here. Same table, same order, same hoodie. It's suspicious." I let out a dry laugh. What can I say? I like routines. She slid into the seat across from me without asking. A creature of habit. Dangerous. You usually accuse strangers of being dangerous? Or am I special? "No," she grinned. "You're just exceptionally broody. It's impressive." I opened my mouth, closed it, then chuckled despite myself. Broody. Haven't heard that one in a while. "I'm Ava, by the way." I hesitated. "Ryan." "Nice to meet you, Ryan." "They're Latin guy." "Nice to meet you too, Ava." "Interrupt her." She laughed. 'Twas light. The kind of laugh that makes the air around you feel lighter. The next time she showed up, she brought me a coffee. "No offense, but your usual order is depressing," she said, handing me a caramel latte. "Try some sugar." "You're not subtle, are you?" "Nope. Subtleties? Boring." I took a sip. Too sweet. But I didn't hate it. "Better," I said, and she smiled like she'd won something. "Do you always sit with strangers?" I asked a few days later, only the ones who look like they're hiding from life. I raised an eyebrow. That obvious? Only to someone who's done the same. I didn't ask what she meant, and she didn't explain. "You don't talk much," she said once while stirring her tea. "Is that a complaint?" "No, just an observation." I shrugged. "I've learned it's safer." She nodded slowly. "Safe isn't always healing." "I'm not looking to heal," I said too quickly. "Then what are you looking for?" I stared at my coffee. "Peace." She didn't push. She just said, "Fair enough." Days turned into weeks. Our conversations grew longer. I laughed more. She listened more. But still I didn't talk about before. Not once. She never asked. And that's what kept me coming back. One night, after a long walk, we sat on the curb in silence. "I like this," she whispered. "What?" "Sitting in the dark next to a storm drain." "No," she chuckled. "Q, this version of you," I tensed. "You don't know me." She tilted her head. "I know enough. You don't know what I've done, what I've lost, what I walked away from. I know you show up every day, and that counts for something. You're not even curious." She shook her head. "If you ever want to tell me, I'll listen. Until then, I won't ask." My chest tightened. Why? Because everyone deserves a safe space to just be. "I'm not good at this," I admitted one evening while we watched the rain from her porch. "Good at what? This, letting someone in? You're doing fine." I laughed bitterly. "You have no idea what's inside." "I don't need to," she said softly. "I only care that you're here. Why are you so kind to me?" I asked her one day. She shrugged. "Because I know what it feels like to break quietly." Looked at her then, really looked. There were old wounds behind her eyes, not visible, but I could feel them. "You've been through something too," I said. "Everyone has. Mine just taught me how to love softer." "I don't know if I can love at all." She didn't flinch. "Then just start with trust." "I'm scared," I whispered one night. She didn't say anything. "I'm scared I'll ruin this." She leaned her head against my shoulder. "Then we'll ruin it together and fix it twice as strong." That was the first time I felt something shift inside me. One day she touched my hand without speaking, just held it. I didn't pull away. Another day, I touched hers back. Neither of us said what it meant. But we both knew. "Why don't you ever talk about your past?" She asked gently one evening, not accusing, just curious. "Because it still hurts," I replied. She nodded, wrapping her fingers around her mug. Okay, that was it. No follow-up. No probing. Just okay. And somehow that meant more to me than any answer. I began to look forward to mornings again. To her texts, her voice, her laugh. Her stubbornness when I refused to try her weird tea blends. One morning, she kissed my cheek before leaving. She didn't say anything, and I didn't stop smiling the entire day. It wasn't sudden, but somewhere along the way I realized I was falling for her. Not because she tried to fix me, but because she never tried at all. She just let me exist, and in that space, started becoming someone new. Someone who could feel again, someone who could love again, someone who could say, "I think I'm ready, okay?" I whispered one night. She turned to me, eyes calm. "Ready for what? To stop running from myself?" She smiled softly. "Then I'll walk beside you. No rush." And in that moment, I believed her. "You're going to love him," Jared said, leaning back in his chair like he wasn't about to blow up my entire life. I forced a smile. "Yeah, what's his deal?" "Smart, charismatic, kind of like you actually. You two would hit it off. He just moved here from New York." I sipped my water to avoid responding. Something about this didn't sit right. The restaurant was dim, cozy, and Ava looked radiant across from me in her navy blue dress. She glanced at her phone. The planner said they should be here any minute. Should we order drinks? Jared asked. "I'll wait," Ava said. "Let's toast when everyone's here." I couldn't shake the tightness in my chest. "You sure this guy's cool with stepping in last minute?" I asked Jared. Dude, he was pumped. Said he was honored. Ava smiled at that. Sweet. It's not every day someone agrees to be best man without really knowing the groom. Jared chuckled. "Trust me, he'll know enough by the end of the night." And then the door opened. I didn't breathe. I didn't blink. Mason walked in, like he hadn't shattered my entire existence. Like he wasn't the reason my life had. Crumbled once, tall, confident. Same smirk. Same damn swagger. "Hey," Jared waved him over. "Right here, man." Mason approached with his hands in his pockets, cool as ever. "Jared, good to see you." Then his eyes landed on me. Silence. He froze for just a second. Then the smile returned. "Well, I'll be damned." I gripped my glass tighter. "Mason, this is Ava," Jared said cheerfully. "Ava, meet Mason, your new best man." Ava extended her hand. "Hi, so nice to meet you." Mason shook it. "The pleasure's all mine." He turned to me. And, wow, small world, huh? My jaw clenched. Yeah, real small. Ava glanced between us. "Wait, you two know each other?" Mason laughed. A little too loud. "College buddies? We go way back." Jared's eyes lit up. "Seriously, you never mentioned that." "Guess I forgot," Mason said casually, pulling out a chair and sitting right next to Ava. She looked at me. "You okay?" "I need a drink," I muttered. The server appeared and took orders. I barely heard what anyone said. Okay, my mind was spinning. "So, Mason," Ava asked, "what made you move here? New job?" "Bigger challenges. And honestly, new beginnings." He looked straight at me. I flinched. Always were good at starting over. His smile didn't fade. "Better than clinging to the past." Ava furrowed her brow. "Is there something I should know?" "No," I said quickly. "Yes," Mason said at the same time. She tilted her head. "Which is it?" Mason leaned forward. "Let's just say your fiancé and I had a falling out years ago." "That's one way to put it," I snapped. He chuckled. "Don't worry, Ava. I've changed." "People don't change that much," I said coldly. The table went quiet. Jared cleared his throat. "So, dessert." Ava touched my hand. "Can we talk outside?" I stood without a word. Once we were on the sidewalk, she crossed her arms. "What's going on?" I stared at the pavement. "He's not just a college buddy." "Then who is he?" "He's the reason I stopped trusting people." Her eyes widened. "What happened?" I hesitated. "He slept with my girlfriend. My fiancé, actually, right before our wedding. And he never apologized, never explained." Kava's face went pale. "Oh my God, he was my best friend, okay? I trusted him more than anyone. And now Jared wants him as best man." "I didn't know it was him until tonight. Why didn't you say something at dinner?" 'cause I didn't want to ruin it for you. You've been so excited about every detail." She stepped closer. "But this isn't just a detail, is it?" I shook my head. "No, it's a bomb waiting to go off. Do you want me to talk to Jared?" "No, I will." She nodded slowly. I can't imagine how that felt, sitting there, pretending. I wasn't pretending. I was holding myself together. "You shouldn't have to." I looked at her, really looked. "I never told you about him because I didn't want the past to poison us. It's not poison if we face it together," she whispered. I exhaled. "Thank you." We stood in silence for a moment. "Do you want him gone?" she asked. "Yes, then he's gone." I swallowed the lump in my throat. "You sure?" "Marrying you, not him. This is our day. And I won't have someone who hurt you standing next to us like he belongs there. I don't deserve you." She smiled softly. "Maybe you do." When we walked back inside, Mason looked up from the menu. I stopped at the table. "Change of plans," I said. "You're not in the wedding?" Mason blinked. "Excuse me, Ava?" Stood beside me. You heard him. He glanced at Jared. Seriously, Jared looked confused. "What's happening?" "I'll explain later," I told him. Mason leaned back, that smug look fading. "Well, guess this dinner just got awkward." "No," I said. "It's over." We walked out, hand in hand, leaving the past behind. "I should tell her," I whispered, staring at the ceiling while Ava slept beside me. But the words stuck like thorns in my throat. Every version of the truth ended with her looking at me differently, like I was broken. I couldn't risk that. "Morning," Ava mumbled, eyes still closed. "Morning," I replied. Brushing hair from her face, she smiled sleepily. "Don't forget we're meeting Mason and Jared at the tasting later." Froze. "Right? The tasting." She opened one eye. "You okay?" "Yeah, just not a fan of that venue." "Lie." When we arrived, Mason was already there grinning like this. Was just another weekend brunch. He wore confidence like cologne, strong, unavoidable, and far too familiar. There's the man of the hour. Mason clapped Jared on the back and his soon-to-be better half. "Ava, you look radiant." "Ah, stop," Ava said, blushing. "You're sweet." I stepped forward, forcing a smile. "Hey," Mason turned to me, voice smooth. "Hey man, good to see you again." "Long time?" I clenched my jaw. "Yeah, been a while." Jared handed me a champagne flute. "Can you believe Mason's been in town for weeks and didn't even text me until last month? Crazy, right?" I said flatly. Ava giggled. "Well, I'm glad he did. It's been a lifesaver with the rehearsal dinner setup." Mason shrugged. "Happy to help. Anything for Jared." I watched him, the way he inserted himself, like he belonged. Like he hadn't shattered my world 2 years ago. "I'll go check with the caterer," I muttered, walking off before I said something I'd regret. Ava caught my hand. "Wait, are you okay?" "Just need air," I said, pulling free. Outside, I gripped the railing, trying to steady my breath. Deep breaths, a voice said behind me. I turned. Mason, he leaned beside me, hands in pockets. "Didn't mean to blindside you." "Didn't blindside me, you invaded my life." He let out a short laugh. "Still dramatic, huh?" I stared at him. "Do you think this is funny?" "No," he said, suddenly serious. "But I didn't come here to fight. Then why did you?" "Come, to make things right." I scoffed. "You burned every bridge. What could possibly be right about showing up now?" "I didn't know she was your fiancé, and that makes it better." He lowered his voice. "Left that life behind. You think I wanted to face you again?" I didn't. But Jared, he reached out. I couldn't say no. "You should have." "I didn't come to ruin your wedding. I swear." I glared at him. "Stay out of my way." He nodded. "That's what you want." But it wasn't that simple. Every event, every meeting, he was there, offering ideas, cracking jokes, making Ava laugh. I watched him like a hawk. "You're quiet lately," Ava said one night. "Drying dishes." "Just tired," I replied, scrubbing harder than I needed to. She studied me. "Is it Mason?" I hesitated. "Why would it be?" "I don't know. You act weird around him." "I just don't trust people easily." She smiled softly. "Well, I trust him. It's been amazing." I bit down on my tongue. "Maybe he reminds you of someone," she added. "Yeah," I said bitterly, "he does." At Jared's bachelor party planning, the three of us sat around the fire pit. Jared was buzzed. Mason passed around cigars. "Crazy. How time flies, huh?" Jared said. "Feels like college was yesterday." Mason nodded. "Those were the days, except for senior year." I narrowed my eyes. "What about senior year?" He glanced at me. "We don't need to go there." "Say it," I challenged. Jared looked between us. "What's going on?" "Nothing," Mason said quickly. "Old memories." "No," I snapped. "Let's be honest for once." Mason stood. "Not here." "Then when?" I said, standing too. "You keep smiling like none of it mattered." "Like you didn't." He stepped close. "I messed up, okay? But I'm not that guy anymore." I breathed hard. "You don't get to rewrite history." "Neither do you," he said quietly. Jared blinked. "What the hell is happening?" Mason looked at him. "We've got history, that's all." "Bad history." I shook my head. "We're done here." I walked off, heart pounding, hands shaking. Later, that night, Mason texted me. "I'm not here to destroy you, but I won't walk away unless you say it, face to face." I didn't reply, but the next morning I stood at his apartment door. He opened it, surprised. "Didn't think you'd come." "Didn't either." He stepped aside. I walked in silence. I looked at him. "You hurt me." "I know." "You humiliated me." "I know." I paused. "So why do I feel like I'm the one being tested?" He sat down. "Because I didn't come back for redemption. I came back because I owed you an explanation." I stayed standing. "Then explain." I took a breath. "I was jealous of you. Back then, you had everything grades friends. The girl I wanted, don't say her name. Fine. But I've ruined what we had. I know that. I'll leave if that's what you need. Just don't let this eat you alive. You've got a good thing with Ava. Don't let the past poison it." I stared at him. "You don't get to give me advice?" "No," he said, "but I can still hope you'll hear it." I turned toward the door, but I didn't walk out. Not yet. The bar was nearly empty when we wrapped up. Jared had gone home early, buzzing about floral arrangements and signature cocktails. I lingered, half hoping Mason would just leave. But he didn't. "Hey," Mason said, blocking the doorway. "'Kay? We talk." I stared at him, waiting for some smug remark or backhanded compliment. Instead, he looked different, worn down. Hollow. "What now?" I asked, not hiding the edge in my voice. "It's about Layla," he said. "You need to hear." "This?" I scoffed. "I don't need anything from you." "Yeah," he muttered. "You probably don't, but I need to say it anyway." I crossed my arms. "Make it quick." He glanced around, then gestured to the back booth. "Just 5 minutes." I hesitated. Every instinct screamed no. But curiosity, the part of me that never stopped wondering why, pulled me into that seat. He sat across from me, fingers tapping against his beer bottle. "You remember the night she left you?" "Of course I do. I was already sleeping with her." I clenched my jaw. "I figured. Wasn't supposed to happen like that." He said, "We were drunk. Started as something stupid. But then she chose you." I finished bitterly. He shook his head. "No, she used me." I frowned. "Excuse me?" "She told me she loved me, that we had something real. I believed her. Idiot, right?" I said nothing. She moved in with me right after. Said she couldn't be alone. Said I understood her better than you ever did. "And you lapped it up like a damn dog." "I thought I won," he whispered. "But man, I didn't even know what the prize was." "Sounds like karma," I said coldly. He laughed, dry, bitter. "Yeah, you could say that. So what? She cheated on you?" He nodded slowly. With my business partner. And a friend from her gym. Hell, maybe more. I stopped counting after the second. My lips parted, but I didn't speak. She drained me, man. He went on. Emotionally, financially. My savings. Gone. Credit cards. Maxed. She told me I was worthless the way I told you that night in the parking lot. Silence stretched. Between us, I deserved it, he said. Every bit of it. Damn right you did. He didn't flinch, just nodded. I lost everything, he continued. My job, my apartment, She broke me. I watched him. His shoulders slumped, eyes dull, no arrogance, no deflection. Just raw guilt. I've been wanting to tell you for months, he said, but I didn't have the guts. Why now? I asked. He looked down. Because you're marrying Ava, and you deserve to walk into that marriage without any ghosts, especially mine. I laughed, bitter and low. You think a little confession wipes the slate clean? No, he said quietly. I think it's the least I can do. And what do you want in return? Forgiveness? No, just to be heard? I leaned back. Well, congratulations. I heard you. I'm sorry, he said. My stomach twisted. I'm not asking for anything, he added. Not your friendship, not your trust, just maybe a little understanding. You shattered my life, I said. You took the one person I trusted and smashed it all to pieces. I know, you lied to my face, slept with her while pretending to be my friend. I hated myself for it, not enough to stop. He nodded, taking the hit. I used to wonder if you ever felt bad, I said. Ever looked back and thought maybe you went too far? Every day, he whispered. Every damn day. We sat there, two broken men tangled in the wreckage of a woman who had played us both. I didn't feel vindicated, didn't feel better, just numb. She's gone now, he said. Moved to Seattle with some guy she met on a yoga retreat. Snorted. Figures. He gave a half smile. You loved her more than I ever could. That's not saying much, no, but it's true. I looked at him, really looked. This wasn't the Mason I hated. This was someone else. Someone who had finally been broken open. Why are you here? I asked. Why help with the wedding? Why smile and joke like we're old pals? Because Jared asked me to. And because I didn't want to keep running from my mistakes. That's convenient. Maybe, but I wanted to face you and Ava. She doesn't know. No, I figured that's your choice to make. I sat in silence, the weight of it all pressing on my chest. You really lost everything? I asked. He nodded, even myself. I studied his face. The lines around his eyes, the way his fingers shook slightly. You still love her? No, he said. I hate what she did, but more than that. I hate what I became. I sighed. So, what now? That's up to you. I stared down at the empty glass in front of me. I don't forgive you. I didn't expect you to. But I hear you. He nodded, standing up slowly. And Mason, I said before he walked away. Yeah, don't ever hurt the people I care about again. His eyes met mine. I won't, I swear. And then he was gone. I pulled out the last dusty box from the closet, brushing off the top with my sleeve. The smell of old paper hit me, faint perfume, too. That's when I saw it. A small leather journal, brown, cracked at the edges. What the hell? I muttered, flipping it open. The handwriting was unmistakable, Layla. I sat on the edge of the bed, my fingers trembling slightly as I turned the first page. He makes me feel invisible. I blinked. Read it again? He looks at me like I'm supposed to be someone else. Someone better. I try to be enough, but I always fall short. Swallowed hard. Is this about me? I flipped to the next page. Mason says I deserve more. He says I shouldn't have to beg for affection. I froze. Mason. I read faster, the words tumbling into my brain. He calls me late at night just to hear my voice. Says he sees me. Says he knows how special I am. That he wouldn't take me for granted like he does. My heart sank. So that's how it started. I shook my head, trying to breathe. I know it's wrong, but I need to feel chosen. For once, I need to feel like I matter. I slammed the journal shut. But a minute later, I opened it again. I couldn't stop. I told Mason I wasn't ready. He said he'd wait, that he understood me more than anyone ever had. I believed him, I whispered. You were both lying. Another entry. He's different now. Cold, distant, he got what he wanted, and now I'm just noise. I clenched my jaw. My chest tightened. So he used her too. Page after page. Her. Words grew darker. I think he loved someone else. Or maybe he never loved me at all. Maybe I was just his revenge. I stood up, pacing the room. My hands shook. I felt betrayed all over again, but not just by her, by him. I read on. I wish I could go back. I wish I'd chosen differently. But now it's too late. I've ruined everything. I sat down again, quiet this time, no anger. It's just silence. He told me I was stupid. It's that I should have stayed with the safe one, the boring one, the one who really loved me. I closed my eyes. I wasn't boring. I was honest. More pages. I hurt him. God, I hurt him. But I was hurting too. Doesn't anyone see that? I whispered. I didn't. A soft knock on the door jolted me. Everything okay? My fiancé called. Yeah, just ... cleaning. She walked away and I went back to the journal. My fingers traced her last entry. I never meant to destroy him. But maybe we were all just broken people looking for something to fix us. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. She was just ... lost. I closed the journal gently this time. Mason didn't love her. He used her. I shook my head, speaking to no one, and she used me ... to feel whole, just like he used her. To hurt me. I stared at the box of old things. I should have thrown them out. But this felt like closure, I whispered. You weren't evil, Layla. Just scared. I packed the journal back in the box, then paused. No, not this time. I took it out and placed it on the shelf, next to the photo albums. Next to the pieces of my old life, not as a wound, as a reminder of what I survived, of who I used to be, and who I refused to become. Ava, we need to talk. She looked up from the moving boxes, her eyes soft. Is this about the playlist again? 'Cause I'm not removing Taylor Swift from the wedding reception. I smiled, but it faded quickly. No, this is deeper. She tilted her head. Okay, sit down. We sat on the couch. My hands trembled slightly. I'd rehearsed the words in my head all morning. But now they felt like ashes on my tongue. I've been carrying something I began for a long time. Something I should have told you before we got engaged. Maybe even before our first real date. Hey, she said gently, placing her hand on my knee. You don't have to be afraid with me. I'm not afraid of you, I whispered. I'm afraid of what the truth might do. She nodded. Then let's find out together. I swallowed hard. Layla didn't leave because we fell out of love. She cheated on me for months. Ava's breath caught, but she stayed quiet. She said it was my fault, I continued. Said I was too quiet, too unavailable. That I made her feel invisible. And do you believe her? Ava asked softly. I did, I admitted. For a long time, I thought I drove her to him. After everything, I see it clearer. We were both hurting. And Mason, he knew exactly what to say. To someone who was drowning, Mason, she said, almost spitting the name. Your brother. I nodded. He promised her stability, flash attention, things I didn't even know she craved. I found her journal the other day. It was buried in an old box. You read it? She asked. Every word. She was scared, insecure, desperate to be seen. And I was closed off, focused on surviving, on making money, on being enough. I didn't see she was fading. Ava squeezed my hand. She wrote about how Mason made her feel alive again. Then he left her too, just like that. After she'd given up everything? What a coward, Ava whispered. Yeah, I sighed, but in a twisted way, it helped me see they were both broken, using each other. And I was just the collateral damage. You don't have to justify their betrayal, she said, her voice firm. What they did to you was cruel. No, but for so long I carried this. Shame, like I was the problem, like I was hard to love. You're not hard to love, Ava said. Her voice didn't shake. Her grip didn't loosen. I needed you to know all of this before we start a life together, I said. I don't want to build our future on secrets or silence. I'm glad you told me, she said, even though it hurts to hear. Do you still want to marry me? I asked. She leaned in and kissed my forehead. Thank you for surviving it. Thank you for choosing to love again with me. Tears welled in my eyes. You're not angry. I'm not angry, she said. I'm proud. Because it takes courage to face the past and even more to share it. I thought you'd pull away. She smiled. No, I'm not going anywhere. Not when you've just shown me the deepest part of you. I let out a breath I hadn't realized. I was holding. I never thought I'd find this kind of safety again. You deserve peace, she whispered. And we deserve a clean start. That night, I sat alone on the balcony while Ava slept. The city lights blinked in the distance. For the first time in years, I didn't feel haunted. I wasn't angry anymore. Not at Layla. Not at Mason. Not even at myself. I cried not from pain, but from peace. I finally let go. The morning sun poured through the windows as I stood in the dressing room adjusting my tie. The air buzzed with excitement and nerves. Ava's waiting, Jared said, grinning. You ready? I took a deep breath, as ready as I'll ever be. The day was perfect. Not a cloud in sight, a gentle breeze that carried the scent of blooming roses. I stepped outside and saw Ava, her dress shimmering, eyes shining brighter. Then the sunlight. You look incredible, I said, voice catching. She smiled softly. So do you. We held hands tightly as we walked down the aisle. My heart pounded with every step, but it wasn't fear. It was hope. At my side stood Mason, silent, serious, almost different from the man I'd known. He didn't smile or joke. Instead, he watched every moment carefully, like he was witnessing something sacred. The ceremony was a blur of vows and promises. When it was time for the toasts, Jared went first, lighthearted and full of jokes. Everyone laughed and the tension eased. Then Mason stood up. The room quieted instantly. He cleared his throat. I wasn't sure I'd come today, he began, voice steady, but I realized some things can't be left unsaid. All eyes turned to him. Murmurs spread. I owe both of you an apology, he said, looking directly at me, and then Ava. My jaw tightened. I betrayed my best friend, he said, voice low but clear. I hurt him deeply. And I betrayed the woman I thought I loved. Felt Ava's hand squeeze mine. Some mistakes don't deserve forgiveness, Mason continued. But some people do. The room was silent. I nodded slowly. He looked down for a moment, then back up. Thank you for letting me be here, for allowing me a chance to witness what real love looks like. Ava smiled at him, not with warmth, but with quiet understanding. I swallowed hard. Thank you for saying that. After the toast, Mason sat down. Jared gave me a look, half relieved, half surprised. I leaned toward Ava. You okay? She nodded. More than okay. Later, as we danced under the stars, I realized I had what I needed. Closure wasn't about revenge or bitterness. It was about acceptance. Mason's apology wasn't a magical fix, but it was honest. And honesty was the foundation Ava and I were building on. I looked at her, my future, and smiled. No shadows from the past could touch this moment. I had my closure, and more importantly, I had my future. The ocean stretched out before us, endless and calm. Ava's hand in mine was steady, warmer, solid anchor in the quiet morning breeze. We sat on the balcony of our honeymoon suite, the world still waking up below. I took a deep breath, feeling the salty air fill my lungs. For the first time in years, I wasn't running from the past, from the pain, from myself. "I'm glad we're here," Ava said softly, leaning her head on my shoulder. "Me too," I replied. "Feels like we've finally closed the chapter." Smiled without looking up. "Do you think you're really done with all of it, Mason, Layla, everything?" I thought about it, letting the memories drift through me, not sharp edges anymore, but faded sketches. "I don't hate him anymore," I admitted, "and I don't want to." Ava looked at me, eyes searching. "Does that surprise you?" I asked with a faint laugh. "Kind of," she said. "You've carried that anger for so long. But maybe letting go is the hardest part." I nodded. But I realized hate only weighs you down. Mason and we won't be friends. Not ever. But I don't need to wish him pain to find peace. How did you get to that point? Reading Layla's journal helped. Seeing her fears, her mistakes, it humanized everything. She wasn't just the girl who left me. She was a scared woman searching for love just like me. "You found love with me?" Her voice was a whisper. I kissed her forehead. "That's what matters," I said. "Not the past, not the betrayals. What we build now." Ava squeezed my hand. "You've built something beautiful." I glanced at the waves, their steady rhythm reminding me of time's healing power. I realized revenge isn't about hurting others, I said. It's about living fully, loving without fear, choosing happiness instead of bitterness, she added. I smiled, heart light. "Mason and Layla are memories now," I said, "not scars. And that's the best kind of ending." I leaned in and I kissed her, the taste of new beginnings on my lips. As the sun rose higher, I felt a calm settle inside me. The past no longer controlled me. I was free. We were free together. We'd built our own ending. One filled with hope, forgiveness, and love. Not because anyone paid the price, but because I healed. Because I chose peace. Because it chose us. And that was my true victory. One afternoon, as Ava and I unpacked boxes in our new home, the mail arrived. Among the usual bills and flyers was an envelope with my name, written in a familiar scrawl. My heart stuttered before I even opened it. "Is that from her?" Ava asked. Noticing my hesitation, I nodded slowly. "I guess it's time." I unfolded the letter carefully, as if touching something fragile. The words spilled out in neat handwriting, different from the hurried texts or cold silences I'd known. "I'm writing from a place I never thought I'd be, a rehab center. I've lost everything. My job, my family, my sense of who I am." The ink blurred slightly. I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for loving me once, even when I didn't deserve it. "I'm sorry for the pain I caused you and for the betrayals I carried in my heart." Swallowed hard, my throat tight. "I don't expect forgiveness. I don't even expect you to remember me with kindness. But I needed to say these words to start healing myself." I paused, letting the silence grow. "Between the lines, you've changed," Ava said softly, watching me. "I have." I folded the letter slowly. "She's changed too, or at least trying to." Ava reached out and took my hand. "What will you do?" I looked at her, grateful for this calm presence beside me. "I won't reply, not because I'm angry, because I don't need to. Closure isn't about restarting old wounds." She nodded. "It's about moving forward." I carefully placed the letter in a box with other memories, photos, journals, little pieces of a past life, not to forget, not to bury, but to remind myself of the distance I've traveled. "Do you ever regret trusting?" Ava asked quietly. "Sometimes," I admitted, "but I don't regret surviving. I don't regret learning to love again." The letter was a final note in a long story, a story that started with betrayal but ended with survival. I leaned back, breathing in the present moment. "My story isn't about pain anymore," I said. "It's about strength, about finding light when everything was dark." Ava smiled, squeezing my hand, "and about the future we're building together." I looked around our new home, filled with laughter and hope, and smiled for the first time in a long time without a trace of bitterness. The past was behind me. The pain was real. But it no longer defined me. I had chosen peace. I had chosen love. And that was all I needed.